Hello everyone, this is Hector from Validator. I'm with Rob from Peace and Love Harmony, and today for the Elected Validator series, we are interviewing Kevin from BrotherONE. We will upload this video on our YouTube channel. Please like and share.
Awesome. You did a good job.
Yeah. Well, hello Kevin. How are you today?
I'm doing really good. Thanks for inviting me, guys. I've been really excited to do this all week, so I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. If you want, we can start. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit? Will you tell us something about yourself?
Yeah, so my name's Kevin. I am the owner of BrotherONE Validator. I started validating, I think, roughly around April or June. It's kind of hard for me to remember, but it's been a while. I'm almost at my year mark, so it's been an exciting journey. I came into the Harmony ecospace around February of 2021, and it's been an incredible journey. I started off as a delegator, and I really loved how the community was really involved and engaging and very welcoming, and just thought of what ways I can contribute to the ecosystem. And one of the ways that kept popping up was being a validator. And I've always seen that validating was always, when you get in at the right time, it's always a really good, lucrative idea. And at the time, I was like, okay, let me research it. And when I did, it ended up being something that I believe that I can tackle, and I can learn from it as well. So I did just that. Had a lot of encouragement from all the validators that were at the time, and it was just an awesome journey from then.
Thank you. Awesome.
How about when did you decide? Well, you said when you decided to become a validator was around April or May. You said.
Yeah, like around that time frame.
What exactly made you decide to become a validator and not just a delegator anymore?
Yeah, so when I first started looking into Harmony, I was looking at ways that I can pretty much contribute to the ecosystem. I saw that a lot of people were delegators, and there was a lot of people that I was interacting with that were also validators, which I thought was interesting because they came off as regular people. And I'm like, oh, like they're not just companies or corporations that are validating. It's actually just regular people like you and I. And when I talked to them, they told us, well, they told me like, hey, I'm just some guy in the US and, just spun this validator up, and, it's been a really, really cool journey. So when I looked into it, I saw that it wasn't that difficult. At the time, I was even using the old YouTube videos from Harmony on how to start your validator, which was outdated already at that time. But I was looking into it, I'm like, oh, this is something that I think I can actually start. And the community was just very welcoming. And when I asked questions, they would immediately just answer. They would do their best to help me out to get through troubleshooting. And I've even had a whole bunch of hiccups throughout the way. Like I messed up so bad to where I actually technically have two validators. My original one was Oni1, which Oni is Japanese for brother or older brother. And I'm very into anime and all that stuff. So they call us weebs. So I wanted to kind of be like a little anime based validator, but that ended up not working out because I made a mistake and I ended up locking myself out of my validator. And I had like no access to it. So I had to redo my validator. So if you're starting a validator and you haven't gone that far yet, don't feel bad because I did everything and I was still able to restart a new validator and go through all the struggles and still be somewhat successful. So if my story can help you in any way, I would be happy to hear from that.
Yeah, thank you. You also have been a mentor for many validators. For example, you are my mentor, so I can
Thank you.
I can testify that you are really really good teaching. So if anyone wants, please reach him. And next question. Thank you. Was it difficult for you to fill the requirements needed to operate your validator?
It wasn't difficult for me to find the requirements because it really wasn't a lot. It was just the hardest thing is having the hunger to learn and not giving up, because there was a point where I did want to give up. And this was during a time where I lost my first validator. That's 10,000 ones that I'm never going to get back. And at that time, there wasn't a lot of money, but if you would look back on the all-time high, it's a lot of money. But I'm not rich. I don't have a lot of money, so it was extremely hard for me to come up with funds to fund something like this. But I learned through the previous life experience that whenever you fail, you can use these as teachable moments, lessons to improve and move forward. And I've also heard previous stories of when you're so close and you stumble and you fall, that's the moment where you have to keep grinding and keep going, because that means that you're like right there. And I'm extremely happy that I kept pushing forward, because I remember when I lost my, I did my seed phrases, but I ended up losing one of the words, and it was due through me going through the guides. I must have accidentally deleted a word without knowing and saved the file. So that inadvertently screwed me up. And it wasn't that I didn't put it down, but I didn't write it down. And that was the first mistake that I had. And because I did that, it ended up costing me a lot. And I was trying to set up a two-factor authentication on my original server, and I was using PuTTY. I don't know if that's pronounced right, but with PuTTY, if you don't interact with the UI, it locks you out of the server, like it kicks you out. As I was doing that, I was reading stuff from the guide and I was going back to it, but it locked me out. But it locked me out in the middle of the authentication process. Since it wasn't completed, the server was not giving me access to it at all, even with the third-party server provider. It wasn't letting me go in. So yeah, and since I didn't have the correct seed phrases and everything, I just lost complete access to the server. And I didn't know, but I deleted the server, started a new one because I was confident that I had the seed phrases. But because I jumped the gun and deleted the server, I couldn't call back the private key to restore the wallet. So it's just a nightmare. But right there, that was like my biggest defeat. Like I was like almost in tears because I was so frustrated with myself. But I was like, you know what, like I put all these hours in getting this validator up. I did some promotions, I hired an artist and everything. So I was like, you know what, it's okay. Got to start over, breathe in. I had some amazing encouragement from Tim, from Strong Minds Hold. I had encouragement from Jimbo, from JCR One Validator. They were just like, hey man, like it's okay, just don't give up and start again. And I'm really grateful for them because that allowed me to kind of push me forward. And from that lesson, I pretty much knew how to get there. So from there, I just was running, putting everything together, and it was pretty awesome looking back, how I ended up just pushing forward through that.
Wow, thank you. Learning experience. Wow.
Very good words of advice there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries, guys. I just hope that whenever I get a chance to share this story, I do so because I know how difficult it is when you start. And it's very intimidating. But I didn't really, I don't have the technical background. Like I'm pretty tech savvy, with phones and video games and stuff like that, but not to where it comes to coding. Like the most I did was website in high school, but I wasn't like all into it. Like I just did like templates. Like that's how basic I was. But it's intimidating. But the cool thing is that if you have the hunger to learn, you'll make the time and you'll figure it out.
Definitely. Did you have any Linux experience before you became a validator, or have you learned it all as you've gone?
Learned it all as I went. I had no Linux experience. The only experience I had was HTML and MySQL, I believe how you pronounce it, and C++, but very, very limited to website design. Like it's very similar structure, but this is like 5, 6, 7 years ago. So I'm working off a brain that hasn't been used in years. So like I was technically relearning again. But that's kind of what my point was. This is intimidating, but like I said, if you have the hunger to learn and you hang in there and you just read through the guides, ask for help, because that's never a wrong thing to ask for help. You can make it. You can definitely learn and power through it.
Okay, thank you for your advice. Did you start in testnet? No.
No, I did not start a testnet.
Okay.
Well, and there was a reason. My mentality at that time was that I wasn't confident in my ability yet. So I thought that if I started on testnet, I was going to mess up again and not be able to switch over to mainnet. And when I was looking at testnet at the time, it didn't look anything different from mainnet. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go straight into mainnet, and that's what I did. But now, as an experienced validator, I see the value in testnet. So I do recommend people that are starting off to start off on testnet, because that's where you can afford, the mishaps. You can play with the systems, with the guides, and you don't have to worry about anything. But it also allows you to kind of show proof of concept to your delegators. Like, hey, I'm just starting up. You can start promoting yourself and all that stuff. But you can show like, hey, I'm testing my server to make sure that it can handle the load and all that stuff. And once you're done, it's like a badge of honor. Like, hey, I went through the battlefield. So I think it's pretty cool now.
Thank you.
Great recommendation. Did you start out with 0% commission? And if so, how long did you stay at 0%?
So my journey with 0% was actually quite interesting. When I started, I was promoting 0%, but when it was very difficult for me at first, especially getting delegators, but Jimbo tagged me and some fellow validators about maybe collaborating or putting our name out there, helping out delegators, and just doing our best just to get involved in the community. And he told me that the number one thing that he learned from his time is community engagement, helping out whenever you can and doing it selflessly, like not expecting anything back. And that's what I started working on. I was like, you know what, I'm going to write guides. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to help out the delegators as much as I can. And I started doing so. And during that process, there were a few validators who started around the same time I did. So I reached out to 2 of them, actually 3 of them, and we all decided, hey, let's get together and let's do the biggest giveaway that we can for Harmony. And that's what we did. We made some shirts. We did some designs. We hired a graphics designer as well to help with the shirts. And we did a huge giveaway. and it was quite successful. And the funny thing is that one of the validators started getting popularity, and they got elected. And all the other three of us were like so envious, but yet so happy that, hey, you know, this actually works. Somebody got some results and was able to get elected through this. But I don't remember I think it was probably like a 2-week giveaway. And then another validator got elected, and I was the last one to get elected. And I was like, oh, like almost defeated towards the end because I was putting so much work and dedication to it. But getting delegated, like I think it was after the event. But it was just so cool just seeing how all the community engagement ended up working out. And with that 0%, it helped out a lot. I got a lot of attention, and it went as crazy as to at this time there was a hit proposal to establish 0% and have 5% for validators that are over the 100 epoch. So what I did is I promised my delegators that, hey, due to this hit proposal that they've announced, I'm actually going to keep my promise and change my 0% to 5% at my 100 epoch. But during those 100 epochs, my validator ended up grossing over 40 million one tokens. And when I did the 5% is when I dropped down to the level where I'm at now, around like 20 million or so. But it was extremely interesting of the power of 0% commission. And I highly encourage any validator to take advantage of that. But definitely the big takeaway here is also community engagement. Definitely try to help out as many delegators as you can. Write your own guides if you can, just or try to figure out ways that you can contribute is one of my best advices.
Besides community engagement, how did you get more delegates? Did you have another strategy?
So what I did as well, I did set up giveaways on my own, or what I also figured out too is DaVinci was a platform, an NFT platform that was coming out. So as a way to help out the artist, I offered giveaways for any artist that wants to come out and show their work. I actually ended up promoting an artist that was from Mexico. He was barely starting off in crypto, and he was trying to understand what NFTs were. And I tried to explain to him that, you know, NFTs is something, it's a really, it's a new concept, but it could be extremely profitable for an artist if, you know, if they do their promotional things right, and if they're dedicated, it could be something that they can get very successful at. And he wanted to try it, so I told him, hey, well, you know, I have a small following, but I can endorse your art and all that stuff. And I did that for a lot of artists. I did that for a photographer. He's extremely talented, and he's still working today. But he does amazing shoots. But I just try to help out artists that were on DaVinci, and it ended up being a really successful tactic that I used because it was something that I can give back to my delegators. Now I'm not so how do I say, I'm not doing them as much because I want to allow other validators to be able to host their own giveaways, their own things, because I don't want to take away from their lights. I want to give them an opportunity to do their own thing and kind of I don't want to take away from their spotlight pretty much. So that's why I've kind of slowed down. I do one maybe every month or so, every 2 months. But that's how I've been doing it now. But before, as I was growing, I was doing a giveaway every other weekend. But yeah.
Interesting, especially the part where you promoted artists. That's awesome. Really.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be artists. It can be whomever you want. If it's someone in the community that has a certain talent, you know, try to shine a light on it, because that's that's pretty much what you do as someone part of the community. You want to shine a light to people that are inspirational, that have a talent, that want to go out there and do something. Even a small business owner, if there's someone in your local area that's involved in Harmony, involved in crypto, and they have a small business, and they want to put their name out there, that could be a cool little endorsement that you can do. But get creative, and that's kind of what makes validators kind of special. We can get creative. There's also some like Stronghold Minds, extremely popular validator. His wife has cancer.
Yeah.
He, most of his funds go to that treatment. So it's a cause, it's a noble one. And these are just some examples of what you can do as a validator. It doesn't have to be limited to something small. It could be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah. Thank you for your words.
Yeah, no worries.
Much appreciated.
Yeah.
How much was 10,001 self stake when you got going? Was it pretty expensive for you to get your self stake? Or
Well, it
when
wasn't.
you put it up?
It wasn't too crazy, but at the time, I wasn't really making much. It was so I had to like go into had to use a portion of my check, and I don't remember how much it was, to be honest. I have to actually go back to that timeline. But I had a few thousand ones, and I think the price action of one was starting to ramp up, but it was kind of going up and down. And that was the other thing that was worrying for me, because I was like, oh my gosh, what if it goes to $1 and I have it locked up, and I can't get any profit and stuff like that. But that's kind of the risk that you take when you do these type of endeavors. But I was hearing a lot from the validator community. It's like, hey, you know what? This is an investment to something far greater. So don't think of this as like a short-term solution. This is a long-term solution. And when I was hearing that, I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, if this is a validator, I can run it for essentially forever, as long as I support it, correctly. So this can be something that I can hand off to my children, my future children. I don't have any now, but this is a legacy that I can pass on to them. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool. So I was like, wow, because this is with blockchain technology, my validator is now gonna be there forever. So it's forever going to be in a blockchain. So I was like, oh my gosh, like this guy is like so right. So I was telling myself, you know what, I can't think of this that way. I have to think of this long term now. So when I changed my mindset on that is when I really started changing how I viewed Harmony, how I viewed the community. And it was just it was like a paradigm shift. But this was like early on. But I don't remember the price of how much 10,000 tokens were at the time.
Yeah, don't worry. It was just an estimate. Don't worry. Next question, if you may. Have you been a validator for a different blockchain?
So at the start, no, I wasn't a validator from a different blockchain, but as a validator now, I have looked into other blockchains. I actually run a node for Pact Protocol, and it was really easy. They've made it to the point where all you have to do is just download their software, and you launch their you spin up the you launch their program, and it automatically spins up a server with one of the third-party service provider. But you have to make an account first. But what you do is you link those together with the program, and it does everything for you. The whole validator, all that stuff. All you pretty much have to do with this is just check back in every other week and make sure your server needs an update and restart it.
Wow.
But Pact Protocol is like extremely easy to validate with. And but the same mindset, it's supporting another blockchain. And I kind of like what they're doing in terms of making a network where you can store your data, like your NFTs, safely recorded in a blockchain. So your data isn't really at risk of being stolen by third party interventions and stuff like that. Like the government can't seize those that data because it's secured in their blockchain. So I like that idea, and I was like, you know what, it's a cool idea. The CEO, I love, excuse me, I love hearing them on Twitter Spaces. So like, you know what, it's something that I can support. So I did that, and it's been a really, really fun process with them. But that's the other blockchain that I have that I've validated with, and that's it. That's all I have right now.
Out of all the effective proof of stake blockchains out there, what made you decide to become a validator for Harmony specifically over everything else?
Well, the biggest reason for myself was actually price point. For me, it was at the right price point where I felt like I can invest in. And at that time, geez, I think the Shard Zero database was extremely small. I think it was maybe like 100 or 200 gigabytes. But it was really, really small. And at that time, running a server with that space was like $40-$50 a month. So it was just like, that's sustainable for a few months, but it was sustainable at the time. And the thing that I really liked is there's a lot of people willing to help you. With other blockchains that I was looking at, when you ask questions, you would receive an answer like maybe a week later, or they would completely ignore your question and continue on with other conversations that they're having. So it felt like they were really just gatekeeping their validators. And I felt like, like, hey, I'm trying to offer some help and maybe possibly validate with your chain, and the support that you're giving out, like it was almost non-existent at that time. So being in Harmony, I was just on Twitter and just talking with other delegators, and here comes validators like engaging with us, talking with us, helping us out, teaching us things to do, things not to do. And it was just something like, wow, like who are these guys? Like this is totally different. And engaging with them, they'll even encourage you like, hey, well, if you like Harmony, you like this, and if you're willing to learn technical stuff, then come validate with us. We'll help you set it up. And hearing that was like, okay, this is so cool. Like I need to get my things together and give this a try. And that's what I did. And I've never regretted it since. It's been an awesome ride.
Thank you for the story. Next question. How long did it take for you to become elected for the very first time?
Ooh. I'm horrible with memory.
Okay,
Geez,
don't worry.
I don't remember. This is about over a year ago. I think it took me about a month or two. About a month or two, because I got elected, but it was a fluke. I don't remember if KuCoin messed up or some validator or whatever messed up and they got unelected, which opened a lot of slots. So I got elected for the first time, and it was so cool. And I think it was during the doing our promotion, our giveaway with those other collaborations with the 3 other validators. But what was cool about that is that it gave me a crazy APY. So I got unelected the next epoch, but people were like, oh my God, he has like 107 percent APY, and people just were delegating slowly. And because I didn't have a lot, I think I had like maybe like 100,000 tokens. So it wasn't a lot, it wasn't enough to get you elected, because at that time we really needed over 5 million tokens to get elected at that time. So, but from that one epoch that gave me really cool percentage, I was getting delegations left and right, but it wasn't that fast. It was taking a while, but I had a lot of people asking me questions, and I was letting them, okay, just keep in mind that this APY is not accurate. It's just because they go based off like 30-day time period, but I only have 1 day on there, so it's not really correct. But yes, if you were with me at that time, you would have got a nice boost. But I did my best to try and educate the delegators that I had at that moment. And some of them really appreciated it because they were confused. But as soon as I explained to them the situation, they're like, oh, okay, we understand. And I tell them, hey, no hard feelings if you want to go and validate with someone else. I have no problem. My mission is just to help you understand how the blockchain works. And from that, it was cool seeing how I started to grow. But I wasn't just standing there either. I was online helping out. And keep in mind, I was also doing a 60-hour work week. So I had a full-time job working 60 hours a week, 6 days a week. So I was busy, but I'm like, you know what, this is worth it. In the long term, I was thinking, this is something that can help out my family in the long term. And if this is what it takes, then, you know, I'm willing to pay the price.
That's what it takes. Before getting elected, did you ever have that feeling like, did you ever feel it was impossible to get elected and get discouraged at all? Or were you pretty confident the whole time?
No, it's actually a roller coaster. If and you probably understand what I mean by that. Like every single day was kind of like a oh my gosh, is today the day? Emotions were pretty much everywhere. And at the time, it was a lot harder because the community was still growing. So, and at that time, most of the people who were delegating to the bigger validators because they've been there for so long. But they were also helping teaching the community, and no one else was doing it. They were the only ones teaching and helping the community, and that's why they were growing so fast because the majority of people that were validators for Harmony were companies, corporations, and you know, they just put their money there and they were good to go. But that's, as a delegator, that's who you would stick with. And seeing that these other guys were actually community driven, were someone like you and me that you can talk to and have a conversation with, that's what helped them grow a lot. And there wasn't a lot of validators doing that. And me seeing that, I think the number one validator that had the first impression on me was USS Harmony. He would make daily announcements every day, giving his stats, how his validator was performing. If he was making any changes, he would announce that. And I'm like, oh God, I love that concept. So I mimicked his concept and I told him, hey, you know what? I'm going to mimic what you're doing because it's great. Like as a delegator, that's awesome. So at the time I was already thinking about becoming a validator. So I was just pretty much seeing what every other validator was doing. And I was like, okay, this is a good concept. I'm going to copy that. Oh, I'm going to copy that too. And I was just going like that, but I'm gonna put my own spin to it. I'm gonna try to make it my own thing. And that's what I did. And it's just reaching out is the best thing that I could do, but it was a roller coaster. There was times where I'm like, okay, I'm never gonna get elected. And I was just getting defeated, but I told myself I have to keep pushing forward and I have to just help somebody. And if I can help somebody, that's enough for me. And that's what I continue to work on. And it's been paying off. It's been awesome because someone like Hector, he was a delegator. And I'm talking about Hand One right now. He was a delegator, but he was from Latin America. So for me, I'm Latin and I speak Spanish, but I'm not great with writing Spanish. my mom was always working graveyard, so she never really had enough time to teach me, because either I was in school and when I came home she was resting, or she was on her way to work. So I never really had a teacher that can teach me how to write and read Spanish. So he was an amazing help, and I went with him with a lot of questions in regards to translations. But he was even asking, like, how do you become a validator? How do you do this? And I'm like, well, if you're willing to learn, I can show you the ropes. And that's what I did. And I wasn't all that great at the time, but that was my goal, is just to help people who were hungry to learn. And if I can help one person, then that was enough for me. So yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if I can add, your help was one of the things that make me decide to become a validator. I mean, your help as a validator to a delegator in the first place. I said to me, I want to be like him. So thanks for being an inspiration. Also, yeah, thank you, really.
No, thank you. That means a lot. I'm actually really happy to hear from that, and it brings me a lot of joy just watching how you were able to be a part of that program that you guys had last night. That's awesome to see that as a delegator now you're involved and you're helping out in Harmony. You're helping hosting events in your own country, and that's so cool. Like, I would have never thought that in a few months you would be doing something like that, and it's so awesome. So I'm happy that I was able to inspire you to continue on. So that's so cool.
Yeah, no, thank you. Really, thank you.
No, you're welcome.
You find the validator community helpful whenever you had any question?
Oh yeah, I think I've answered that so many times, but yes.
Yeah. Still a question.
Yeah, no, I understand, but I think it's just so cool. Yeah, they were extremely helpful. I think my mentors, well, they weren't really my mentors, but I saw them as my mentors, were JCR and Tim. What I love about those guys is they were like, their compass was pointing at north the entire time. And if you had questions, they would provide you with the answers, but they won't your hand. And that's something that I love, because that allowed me to prove to them that I was hungry enough to learn, and I was going to do what I said I was going to do, and that that I was going to put in the work to learn. And they would see that and they'll be like, oh, awesome, man. Like, I see you growing, you're kicking butt, keep doing what you're doing. And that's what I did. And I'm an advocate of that. Because I believe if we hold someone's hand too much, when the moment we let go, if they're not walking on their own, they're going to stumble and fall. And if they don't have the will, the determination to continue moving forward, they're going to have a really rough time. And I myself did stumble a lot, and I've made a lot of mistakes, but my determination to continue forward was strong enough to where I am where I am now. I didn't let my mistakes, my defeats define me. I let my actions define who I was.
How much time do you typically spend a day on validator related work, whether it's checking your node or helping out delegates or writing guides? I guess we shouldn't throw in your VDAO responsibilities, but just for being a validator.
For being a validator, it's interesting. I check it every so often. Whenever I remember, I check where one validator is at. And an amazing tool that if you're a validator, you need to talk with Fortune One. Awesome guy, love him. He created a VStats bot, which is a Telegram bot that kind of gives you updates on how your validator is performing. If it has any issues, they'll send you an alert. So I always have that on top priority notification on my phone. So if any time I miss a block or anything is happening with the ecosystem, it alerts me to that happening. For example, yesterday night, I got an alert that I missed 10 blocks from a validator. And I checked and my servers, and I realized that one of them needed an update. So did a quick update, rebooted it, restarted it, had everything going, and it's been working fine ever since. But on a daily, I check it. I think I spend like maybe 30 minutes to an hour a day, just making sure that everything's running good. And sometimes if everything's running smoothly, I don't check it at all. I just get the alert from VStatSpot saying everything's okay, that there's no issues, and I just continue on with my day. But that's when you're stable and you're elected stably. When you're not, it's a constant drag in your head. It's consistently, you're trying to figure out ways to get elected. So it's a total different when you're not elected versus when you are elected. So yeah.
And is your family supportive and understanding regarding what you do as a validator?
Oh yeah. My siblings, I actually, they were interested in validating when I started, but I told them, in order for you to have some sort of success as a validator, you need to dedicate yourself to the community. And with that, means either Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, whatever social media, a platform you choose to be affiliated with, even with TikTok, you need to be dedicated to your community, to your delegators. And I told them, if you're not going to take that route, and if you're not going to commit in that level, then you're not going to really enjoy being a validator, because you're going to have that huge disconnect with the community. A lot of the validators that we have right now, they're there because they worked extremely hard connecting with their community. The only ones that do not have that issues are corporations that we have, or validators that locked in really early on. And the way that they have notoriety is because they've been there for so long that they have proof of their work. So that's not the case anymore. Now you need to have a community support you in your validator. And if you don't have that, it's extremely hard to get noticed and to get delegators. Because a thing that I told them, that these are people's life savings. Even though we tell them, hey, don't put all your eggs in one basket, a lot of them do, and they're risking their savings, their funds, stuff that they're going to be using for their kids, their families, for whatever financial purposes that they have. It's their money, and we're their saving account that allows them to build their wealth. And if we don't take that seriously, if we don't have that dedication to them, they're not going to show the same loyalty to us. And that's something that I try to tell with my siblings, like, if you're not going to do that, then you shouldn't validate. And they understood that. And a lot of them was like, they didn't want to take that type of responsibility. So they decided not to, but they're really happy that I have, because in their eyes, they see, you know what, at least someone in the family actually cares enough and is now a validator for a blockchain. And they think it's the coolest thing. And they're all involved in Harmony in a way. Like my sister and my brother, they delegate to my validator. And my other one just holds it in the exchange, which I don't really like, but to each their own. But they do support me, and they're really happy that I took this route, and they've seen the change in me as well. As I think I've become more opening, more understanding in a way, which is kind of funny. But they're really supportive, and I love that about them. And they always tell me if they find something cool and stuff like that, because I technically found Harmony because of my little sister. She gave me a list of low cap coins, and Harmony was listed as one of them. And if it wasn't because of her, it would have took me longer to find Harmony. But I'm happy that she gave that to me, because I was able to find a lot of low caps, and Harmony was the best one that I found, and I fell in love with it the moment I researched it. So really grateful to my family.
It's a great story.
Thanks, guys.
What was your server setup like when you first started, and what is it like now, if it's any different?
Yeah, so even as a validator, as I was growing, I still didn't understand fully the concept as well. Like, I made a mistake around July. I ended up getting like 5 servers. I don't know, you guys are like, what? But that's because that topic really wasn't talked about too much, and I didn't really understand the concept fully. But I didn't want to miss any blocks. Like, I'm such a control freak that if I miss a block, it'll drive me insane. So I try to have it 100% sync. So I kept thinking, oh, if I keep adding servers, it'll just mean that it will get more secure, and it'll keep 100% sync. So at that time, one was starting to pump up. So I was like, well, you know what? I can make these investments for long terms. So I ended up having like 5 servers at the time. And it was cool because I wasn't missing any blocks, but then I found out that that's not the case. It just depends on the strength and the ability of the server to be able to sync with shard 0. And that's where it clicked. It's like, oh gosh, like I've been overdoing it. So now it's gone down to 3 servers, 2 of them which I have to keep up and running per contract that I have with the service provider, but one I have which handles, you know, the biggest shard 0 database. But with introduction of the prune shard 0 this week, that's all gonna dial back. I'm gonna have just 2 servers set up, really powerful servers, and I'll make an announcement to my delegators as soon as I get those servers up and running, because I like to let them know, hey, this is the hardware that I'm going to be running. And I'm also planning on creating buying a Raspberry Pi and running that from home. So I just got fiber internet, so I'm waiting till I can invest into that, because it takes actually a lot of money to get a powerful Raspberry Pi. So I'm saving some money, putting it aside so I can invest in that, and I want to have at least 1 Raspberry Pi at home that runs on my home network, and then 1 cloud server that I can keep an eye on. So that's what my future setup looks like.
Interesting. I mean, I have a Raspberry as a back node. It really works. So yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
I can recommend it to you. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, that's cool.
And Ben can help you with that. That's yeah, you know. Next question, if you may. In how many social media sites are you on right now, and which one is the most effective for you?
I'm on Facebook. I don't post too much there, post it every now and then. I'm also on Reddit, but I've mainly used Reddit just to dish out either some of the validator stuff, like the initiative and stuff like that. But I think that's going to change because we're going to make a validator DAO specific Reddit account, so I won't be using it too much. And then the main one that I've noticed a lot of growth in was with Twitter. I think I get the most engagement off of Twitter. And I like the fact that I can interact with not just delegators, but with corporations as well, and influencers. So it's been fun. I've never used Twitter in that capacity, but after becoming a validator, Twitter has become like my main obsession. So I think a lot of us can attest to that. But Twitter's my main playground.
You have your own website, and if so, what do you keep on there for?
Well, my website needs a lot of work. I've been so focused on the VDAO. I have a list of things to do with the website, but I do have a website on, and is actually set up by a colleague that I met on Twitter. He helped me create the website, and I can manage it, but there's a lot of stuff that I don't know how to do, so I'll need his help. But Yeah, I need to update it. And I want to add more guides to it. I want to add like a kind of like a blog style to it as well, where you can read any of the work that I've done in regards to VDAO guides and stuff like that you can look into. So it does need a lot of work, but it hasn't been my priority as of late. Um, Mainly because I've been working a lot with the VDAO and making sure that I'm taking care of the validator community. And I also have some other side projects that I'm trying to work on as well. But that is on my list of things to do.
Okay, perfect. Um, so where do you post, or you have your own wallet guide besides your website?
Oh, I have a Medium account. So my Medium account is what I use to post a lot of my guides. But recently, the 2 to 3 recent guides that I've posted have been with VDAO, but the staking guide, MetaMask guide, and all that stuff, I've had them on my own personal BrotherONE account for Medium articles. If you've ever gone to the VDAO articles, you'd actually see my Medium account on there along with the other governors, but you can check out my validator guides with the Medium account.
Thank you.
Mhm.
What do you feel you do that makes you different from other validators?
Sorry, you cut off a little bit. Can you repeat the question?
Oh, yes. What do you feel you do that makes you different from other validators?
Oh, geez, that's a tough one because I think a lot of the validators are really, really great. My thing is, I like to just help out. I don't like to just do things for myself, but I like to contribute. And this is kind of why I decided to become a validator governor, because I feel like I still have a lot left in me to contribute to the ecosystem. And if this is a route that will help best, that will be the best for me to help the community, I decided to take it. And I think that's kind of what kind of sets me aside from a lot of the other validators. I know that they have their own personal reasons, but I really wanted to maintain my engagement with the community. I didn't want to stop helping and offering my services and being able to teach delegators and validators about Harmony. And Harmony is just has a home in my heart now. And any way that I feel like I can help out and educate and be able to inspire others to take this road has been something that I've always thought of continually doing. And that's what I want to keep doing and what I am doing. And I love it. I love teaching and all that stuff. And that's why I'm happy that I'm able to inspire other people to do this. And it's been an amazing journey, and I recommend it. If you love helping people and you love uh, providing a service, this is one of the ways that you can do it.
Remember when I first started up my validator, you were actually the first person to share my name on Twitter, and
Oh,
I was very appreciative of it and helped out a lot to help get the name out there.
oh no, man. The funny thing with you, Rob, is you see me on Facebook, and you were a moderator there. And I don't know if you were a moderator when I first started promoting on Facebook, but I've always saw that you were always willing to help somebody. When I had questions, you were the first one responding. You're like, oh, I can help you. And you did it out of the kindness of your heart. And that's something that I love seeing. People that do that is just so awesome. And then when I saw that you wanted to be a validator, I'm like, Rob, I gotta shout him out. Like, he is so awesome. He's always been very, very helpful. Like, he always talks to me as well on Facebook. So for me, it was just a pleasure. Like, I'm like, yeah, he's gonna be awesome out there, and I know it. And so far, you're governor now, and it's so cool. Like, oh man, it's awesome to see how people start and where they are now. It's so cool, and this is how awesome our community is, and that's why I get so excited. Kind of like how Harmony gets excited when it comes to DAO talking. It's just so cool.
It sure is. The community is definitely the best.
Yeah.
Is it, as far as keeping up with what's going on with Harmony, where do you think is the best place? I mean, if you could pick, I know you can't really pick one, but
Yeah. Geez, that's a hard one. I know the most responsive that I've seen has been Reddit. Like if you ask a question, ooh man, they go in there and they start pounding. So it's I think that's one of the best places to get the most response. And you can have a lot of conversations on Reddit. So if you want to know anything regarding Harmony, that would be the place to post and to talk about. Now, when it comes to a little bit more like one-on-one community engagement, I would say Twitter, but it also depends on how much you've engaged with the community before. So that's kind of the hard thing with Twitter. If you've already been engaging with the community for a while, it'll be easier for you to get some feedback. But if you're fresh account, start posting, it'll be a little bit difficult for you to get some feedback. But that's why I think my one pick would be Reddit for this one.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Well, you have told us pretty difficult stuff you have had regarding your validator. What has been the most difficult one, the biggest mistake you made that you wish you could have avoided?
It makes me laugh because I kind of already mentioned it. This was I think it was my organization. I was kind of everywhere as I was starting my validator. So my biggest advice is try to organize yourself when you first start your validator. Make sure you have everything where it needs to be. And when it comes to your private keys, any information that's regarding your validator, have it written down at a safe location. You can even use something where I like to use called Pickstone. This is oh, there you go. Right there. This booklet is actually I got it off from Amazon, but it's paper that has kind of like stone integrated with it. So it's water resistant. So if water lands on it, it's not going to degrade or anything like that. And a little fire resistant as well, which means like if fire touches it, it's not going to burn it completely. With enough time, you can still save the document. But that was like 10-15 bucks for 3. So something like that can become a really amazing tool for you to have and keep very important records. And that's what I use it for. That can save your butt in multiple occasions. But organizing yourself is one of the biggest caveats when it comes to validator. Because with my example, when I lost my first validator, if I would have had everything recorded from the start, I would have never had that issue. But at the same time, I am happy that that happened to me because it was able to teach me to take the organization stuff a bit more seriously. And since I did that, I'm now known as BrotherONE. I could have been known as only one, but BrotherONE is now my, what people know me as, and I love it. And that has been a mistake that I don't regret doing.
hey, that doesn't sound like a mistake then.
Well, it was at first, but
Right.
I mean, that's what it comes down to.
It's learning from your mistakes is all that matters.
Yeah.
So on the flip side of that, since you became a validator, what would you say has been the most rewarding part about being a validator for the Harmony community?
I think what's been one of the most rewarding parts is I know it's kind of funny, having like the core team like recognize you. I think that's like so cool. It's like, wow, you know about me. Like that is, I think Rob, you can probably attest to that. You're like, oh, you know about me. I think that's one of like the most rewarding things because Harmony has been so cool. I love that, you know, the foundation of it, having these developers from all sorts of different areas of the world coming together and creating a blockchain like this is just amazing. And having that type of recognition from them is just so cool. Like wow, like these guys are like you and I, and it's been awesome. But I think the most rewarding for me myself has been the personal connections that I've been able to establish within the community with some of my delegators. And a prime example of that is Hound. Uh, I never would have thought I've seen Hound in as a VDAO governor and participating and even hosting some Harmony events. So being able to see that come to fruition, come to life, has been really a blessing. I would have never thought that would be possible, and it is. So that just gives me like a lot more inspiration to just continuously helping people out there they need, because stuff like this can be life changing for them, and I think that's so rewarding because you don't think that at first, and then when you see it happen, you're just blown away. So I think that has been my most rewarding experience so far.
Oh man, thank you for your words. Really, neither do I. I also never imagined I could be here. So believe me, thank you. A question related to that: what makes you decide to become a governor?
Yeah, so this was kind of going back to when I was looking at how can I contribute more to Harmony and to my delegators and fellow validators. I saw what was happening with term one, and I was like, you know what, VDAO can become something really important and really special, and I think I started to voice more of my opinions before I became a validator, but I saw a lot of issues that the validators needed help with. So I then decided, you know what, I'm going to give this a try. I was extremely nervous, but I was like, if I can do anything, even one thing, help out at least one validator, that'll be worth it for me. So I talked to Jimbo, and Jimbo was like, yeah, just give it a shot. And I did. I put my ring in, and threw my ring into the VDAO term two, and it has been so much fun. I have learned a lot, and I've learned to love this community more. And I've learned more about what it takes to be a validator, the technical sides, the risks, the security. And it's something that I don't think I would have learned if I would not have had taken this position. And it's been one of the most important roles that I believe I could have taken at the time, because it's so essential to the growth of Harmony. It has been amazing. And now with term three, us starting to work on the educational aspect of it is what also has been really awesome. Because that's something that I believe that is just needed in everything crypto, the education aspect of things. So I think to be able to move forward for mass adoption, an educational system is really needed. Something that a government will never supply, but us as a DAO, if we're able to supply that to the community, it'll be game changing, because I think there's a lot of people hungry to learn. They just are waiting to see that avenue open up. And being a part of that process has been so much fun. And I just can't wait until the days that we open those doors and we're able to actually provide that service.
Definitely. So I know your name started out in Japanese, but it's always been BrotherONE, right?
Yeah.
What made you choose that name?
It's funny. I've always watched Japanese manga. I've always watched animes as I was a kid. I blame my older brother with Dragon Ball Z. Um, Iconic anime, but I've always loved Dragon Ball Z. So as a kid, going from middle school and high school, I always stuck with anime, and I went to the point where I was actually watching the Japanese versions of anime. So the most popular term there is oni-san. So I loved it, and what made me love that term even more is someone posted a meme years ago about Nissan, the car manufacturer. So, and in this little illustration, the word said Oni, it's supposed to say Oni-chan, but Oni-san. So it was kind of making fun of Nissan. So it had me cracking up. And I'm kind of a jokester, so there was another one as well called Notice Me Senpai, which is kind of like saying like, notice me, please. So I was kind of thinking of making something like that, but I was like, no, that's too long. So I was like, I'm going to do only one, like, still keeping the acronym for one for harmony. So I was like, oh, this is so cool. This only one, like, so BrotherONE. So like, I was like, this sounds awesome. So I went with only one. But I made a stupid mistake. So I literally, the first name I put on my second battler was only one as well. And I put parentheses like, oh, this is BrotherONE, this is my new validator. But then I got concerned that it'll be really confusing for delegators. So I was like, damn, I can't even use it. Like, because if I use it, they're going to start delegating to the other validator and that one's dead. So I even asked the core team, hey, is there a way if you guys can just like shut that validator down? But they can't for centralization reasons. But like, if I could use it, I would love to use that name. But that's where that came from. It was just me trying to be funny. It was stupid, but I ran with it, and I had fun exploring the idea, and it's really cool. And I think a lot of the community noticed that. I've had some people reach out like, oh, are you into anime? And I'm like, yeah. But it's been fun doing so. But yeah.
Thank you, really. You have been on cloud server, right? So far.
Yeah.
What's the biggest build you have got from overages?
So I get killed every month. So when I talked about those 5 servers that I set up, I was an idiot and I actually made contracts for all 5 of those servers. So I have a year contract with them, and these are not baby servers. They're strong. So my bill for that every month just for those 5 servers are about $540 a month. So it's like a car payment. And because Shard Zero grew so big, I actually had to contract a 6th server to be able to handle that storage space, because 2 of those first 5 servers cannot handle Shard Zero database. So I went down to 3, but one of those wasn't able to keep up in performance. So I had to take that one down, and I have 2 servers that I'm still running contracted, and then I'm running a 6th server. But since I'm contracted, I still have to pay for those 3 servers that I can't use. So like my overall expenses for the past like 10 to 9 months has been over $600. So yeah, I'm dying here, guys.
Ow.
Yeah, like huge out. So this is my first time actually sharing that publicly. Only a small group of validators have known that I've had this issue. But yeah, that's my biggest bill that I pay every month. So if you're thinking like, oh, like this has been expensive, what I'm doing is really expensive. And it was really stupid. I didn't have to do this, but I shot myself on my own foot. So yeah.
You promote your validator any different now than when you first started? Or you pretty much do the same?
I'm still doing somewhat the same, but I'm not doing it as frequently. Like I mainly shoot out statistics for my validator like once a week. Just because I don't want to take away from the small validators doing their own thing, promoting and stuff like that. Because I think I'm big enough to where I'm self-sustainable. I don't have to really rely too much on marketing, although I could, but I think that's a little bit too selfish of me if I do so. So I don't plan on doing a lot of promotions. I am going to be doing a few giveaways right now, and that's just to support one of my favorite artists, Zerker. Zercher, I believe. Me and him have done a lot of collaborations, but I want to get some more of his work out there. So we're going to do some more of his giveaways. But other than that, I don't plan on wrapping up advertising or marketing or anything like that. I just plan on sharing like my statistics every week, like once a week.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's another way to help more validators, you know, and indirect way to help validate.
Yeah.
Yeah, for that also. Regarding Telegram bots, or do you use anyone? Any bot? Sorry.
Yeah, I still use VStats bots, but I'm also using DStats bots. I'm still waiting on some more information from Fortune One, but DStats bot is mainly for delegators. So if you still have Telegram, you can actually register any validator that you're delegated with the DStats bots. And if that validator has an announcement or something, he can actually ping a message directly to their delegators. So for example, if like one of your servers is going to go down for maintenance or something, and you want to give them a heads up, you can shoot out that message for your delegators only. And it won't be like a massive message for all of Harmony delegators, but just for the delegators on your validator. So that's an amazing tool that I'm looking forward to using and supplying for my delegators. And I hope that they can use it for their own validators as well. But those are the two tools that I use. I also use some like a little program that you can use to monitor your server to make sure that it's not being like attacked by a different IP address, or that it's not being overloaded. Because sometimes if it gets overloaded for too long, you just might need a reset and it'll stabilize the server. So those are things that I kind of use to monitor my servers and make sure that they're performing at peak performances.
You use the smart stake bot too?
Oh yeah, I do use that as well. I totally forgot. But I use Smart Stakes bot as well. I also go to their website to kind of get the network statistics on my validator. So I also post that on my daily on my tweets that I post out for statistics.
I believe that's the questions we have for you now. Do you have any extra closing remark you want to, or some words you want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I just want to give thanks to you guys for tuning in for this interview. I know it's probably ran for about an hour, so I do apologize if I rambled on for too much. But I just wanted to encourage you guys, if the Harmony Validator ecosystem interests you, please reach out and learn about it. And I know we provide some guides and stuff like that. And if you have issues or trouble learning from the guides, you can also reach out to us personally, and we'll be happy to sit down and help you out. We we don't have any issues doing that. We want to help and grow our economy. We want to have a huge, stable validator system, ecosystem, and we're just happy to help. And that's what we're here for. And any validators that are watching this, we have 2 series that we have running for any validator. We want to hear your story, want to hear where you come from, who you are, what you're doing. So I encourage this for anybody. It's been a lot of fun, even though the topic's been about me. I don't really like talking too much about myself, but I think it's good for people to know your story. So if you're willing to share, I believe Rob and Hound would be happy to hear from you. So that's all I got.
We'd be very happy to hear from you. And this is Peace, Love, Harmony, and Hound One Validator. And this has been the interview with Kevin from BrotherONE. And we really appreciate you telling us your story. And it was a very good one. And we learn a lot from it. And if everybody can like and share this video and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications, we appreciate it very much.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Please like, subscribe the video down below. I think we'd all really appreciate it.